Welcome back to the channel where today we unlock the hidden world of extraordinary coin values and rare numismatic treasures that could be hiding right under your nose, waiting to be discovered in your pocket change. And in today's thrilling deep dive, we are going to explore one of the most astonishing and shocking stories in the world of US currency, an ordinary-looking 2011 D1 cent coin that has stunned collectors, historians, and mint specialists alike by reaching a jaw-dropping value of $48 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single 2011 D penny fetching an unbelievable $48 million due to its mind-boggling array of minting errors, hidden anomalies, and the extraordinary possibilities that surround this tiny copper-plated zinc coin minted at the Denver Mint during a period when the US Mint was shifting procedures, modernizing technology, and battling production inconsistencies across several facilities, all of which might have contributed to the creation of this rare coin that is now regarded as one of the most valuable modern pennies in the history of American coinage. And as we explore the full depth of this coin's worth, we begin with its background. For the year 2011 may seem relatively recent in the context of coin collecting, but it was a significant year within the numismatic community due to ongoing production refinements and the sheer number of Lincoln Shield cents being produced at high volumes. Yet out of the nearly 4.9 billion pennies struck at the Denver Mint that year, there lies one solitary specimen that defies all conventional logic and stands as a testament to the unpredictable magic of minting errors. A coin so rare that experts believe its creation was not just a simple mistake, but the convergence of multiple high-level anomalies, a so-called black swan event in the world of coin manufacturing, where this particular 2011 D penny showcases not just one or two errors but a breathtaking combination of double die obverse, off center strike, broad strike with uncentered collar, die clash marks, partial collar, planchette lamination, and even hints of transitional design elements which should have been eliminated from circulation well before the 2011 series began, but perhaps due to machinery malfunction or unnoticed equipment recycling, some residual design elements from the older Lincoln Memorial cent may have unintentionally transferred onto the shield design dies, leading to a ghostly overlay visible under high magnification where fragments of Lincoln's statue or interior columns from the previous reverse design appear faintly embedded within the newer Union Shield motif, a phenomenon that instantly sparked debate among professional graders and collectors when the coin first emerged at a private auction hosted by a boutique numismatic house known for specializing in anomalous US coinage, and the coin's provenance is equally mystifying, reportedly discovered in the change drawer of a vintage vending machine in a forgotten rural town, where it sat unrecognized for nearly a decade until a casual collector noticed its peculiar luster and irregularities under a magnifying glass, sending it for grading, only to receive a near-perfect MS-69 grade along with a detailed authentication report that catalogued its numerous minting defects, assigning it a unique pedigree as the only known example with this exact error set, leading major collectors and institutions to fiercely compete for ownership. And as the bidding war escalated beyond belief, the final sale price of $48 million shattered previous penny auction records and set a new benchmark for modern mint errors, sparking renewed interest in post-2010 pennies and reigniting debates among scholars over quality control at the Denver facility during that period, particularly due to recurring reports of misaligned dies and feed errors that had quietly plagued the mint's operations during high-volume production runs, which is where the fascinating theory begins to emerge that perhaps this coin was the result of a perfect storm scenario, a misaligned planchette being struck by miscalibrated dies that had already begun to show signs of wear or misassembly, further complicated by improper collar pressure leading to edge distortions, all culminating in a coin that was not just flawed but beautifully flawed in a way that made it almost sculptural, a piece of unintentional art created by the pressures of industrial production. And when you examine the coin's obverse, the most striking feature is the doubling on Lincoln's profile, particularly around the nose, lips, and bow tie, clear signs of a double die obverse, which is one of the most desirable errors in the coin world. But in this case it's not just the doubling that adds value, it's the clarity and sharpness of the doubling combined with the coin's other issues that create a compound rarity, because error values multiply dramatically when multiple anomalies occur on A single coin, particularly when they are visible to the naked eye and appear across both obverse and reverse sides. And speaking of the reverse, this is where things become even more intriguing, for the Union Shield design, while sharply struck, shows a noticeable tilt indicative of an off-center strike, and beneath the shield's vertical lines there are overlapping imprints resembling parts of the Lincoln Memorial's architecture, as though an earlier reverse die had been improperly resurfaced or incompletely polished before being pressed into service again. A highly improbable but not impossible situation that could occur if dies were repurposed without full quality inspection, especially during peak production demands, and further examination under electron microscope revealed unexpected surface textures and tiny irregular ridges along the coin's edge consistent with a broad strike outside the collar ring, suggesting that the coin may have shifted during the striking process, causing it to expand slightly beyond normal diameter, which in itself is rare, but combined with the partially missing edge reading and a minuscule die crack running along the left field of the obverse, this coin presents an almost mythical profile, blending multiple high-value error types into one singular object of obsession for collectors worldwide. And beyond the technical errors, some numismatists have speculated that the coin may contain metallurgical anomalies as well, with early spectroscopic tests indicating subtle variations in copper and zinc ratios that deviate slightly from the standard composition, leading some to wonder if this coin may have been struck on a test planchette or experimental blank intended for calibration or proofing purposes, accidentally fed into the production line and struck with regular dies, or possibly resulting from leftover blanks from an earlier year's run mistakenly stored and reissued, all of which remain plausible due to the absence of full transparency in internal Mint archiving of errors during that time, especially given that the Denver Mint was undergoing transitional upgrades in equipment and software in the early 2010s, which could have led to occasional lapses in quality assurance processes. And of course, when it comes to the coin market, rarity alone doesn't determine price. It's the combination of condition, visibility of errors, the story behind the coin, and the fervor of collectors that drive the final value. And in this case, the coin's perfect storm of visible minting flaws, compelling discovery story, expert certification, media buzz, and lack of known duplicates has propelled it to an almost mythical status, now residing in a private collection and insured as a cultural artifact, not just a coin. And this has had a ripple effect on the coin collecting world, where even common-looking 2011 D pennies are now being scrutinized under magnification in hopes of spotting similar anomalies, leading to a resurgence of interest in modern Lincoln Shield cents, and reinforcing the idea that valuable coins don't always have to be centuries old. Sometimes the biggest surprises come from the most unexpected places, like a humble penny struck just over a decade ago. So if you're someone who dismisses modern coins as being too common to ever be valuable, let this serve as a powerful reminder that even a penny minted in 2011 can become a multi-million-dollar icon if the right combination of errors, condition, and historical context align in just the right way. And with millions of coins being struck each year under high-speed conditions, it's entirely within the realm of possibility that other valuable errors still remain undiscovered. So whether you're an experienced collector or a curious beginner, keep your eyes open, grab that magnifying glass, and pay close attention to your change, because the next multi-million-dollar penny could be hiding right in front of you, waiting for the moment someone sees past the ordinary and realizes they're holding a piece of numismatic history that could rewrite the value tables forever. Next, 1992 D1 cent USA coin. Today we dive deep into one of the most shocking discoveries in the history of US coinage that has rocked the numismatic world with awe, excitement, and renewed curiosity as we turn our attention to an unassuming little coin that many people would overlook, ignore, or even toss aside as insignificant spare change, the 1992 D Lincoln cent, a penny minted at the Denver Mint that, due to a remarkable sequence of errors, anomalies, production quirks, and the mind-blowing circumstances of its existence, has fetched a staggering value of $30 million, a value so high it seems almost impossible unless you fully understand the layers upon layers of rarity, defect, mint mistake, transitional oddity, and historical production nuance that all culminate into making this 1-cent coin not only the holy grail of modern-era coin collecting but a legend in the making. And in this epic exploration, we will unravel every known detail, every microscopic anomaly, every speculative theory, and every verifiable fact surrounding this extraordinary coin that has gone from obscurity to the pinnacle of collector desire. And to truly grasp the magnitude of why a 1992 D penny can be worth $30 million, we must first revisit the context of its origin, starting with the major design transition that occurred around this period in US minting history, because prior to 1993, all Lincoln cents bore the familiar reverse of the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to replace the wheat stalks of earlier years. And in 1993 a quiet but critical shift took place as the US Mint subtly modified the font and spacing of the words America on the reverse side, specifically the spacing between the letters A and M in America, giving rise to what collectors now refer to as the close AM and wide AM varieties, with the close AM having the letters nearly touching and the wide AM showing a noticeable gap between the two letters. And while the 1992 cents were officially intended to carry the wide AM design on the reverse, a small number of coins from both the Philadelphia and Denver mints have been discovered with the close AM reverse, an error that should not have existed in that year and thus represents a transition pattern mistakenly struck a year too early, and these are known as the 1992 close AM and 1992 D close AM Lincoln cents, of which fewer than 20 have ever been confirmed in existence and far fewer in pristine condition, with the Denver minted version being exponentially rarer and commanding significantly higher premiums due to its astonishing scarcity and the extreme difficulty in finding one in high grade, which brings us to the heart of this story. A single 1992 D close AM penny that exhibits not only this extremely rare transitional design error but also a host of additional anomalies that push it into an entirely different league of value, because while most known examples of the 1992 D close AM are already worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands depending on grade, the specimen that recently shocked the numismatic community by selling for an earth-shaking $30 million wasn't just a 1992 D close AM. It was a coin that contained multiple mint errors layered on top of the rare design flaw, including a doubled die obverse, a rotated die alignment, a dramatic die crack running across the reverse shield base, an unusually strong strike for a coin from that year, and most intriguingly of all, what appears to be an experimental or out-of-specification planchette that deviates subtly in weight and density from the standard copper-plated zinc composition typical of 1992 cents, with preliminary metallurgical tests suggesting a planchette intended for a foreign coin or proof issue, possibly inserted by accident into a production batch at the Denver Mint during a moment of confusion or equipment changeover, and the fact that all of these errors appeared on one single coin, a coin that was somehow struck, bagged, shipped, circulated, and ultimately discovered decades later in the uncirculated condition, is what makes this coin not just rare, but practically mythical. And as we analyze the characteristics that drive this penny's value through the roof, we must appreciate the way multiple minting errors compound the value of a coin exponentially rather than additively, meaning that while a close AM alone might make a coin worth $10,000 and a double die might make another worth $5,000, having both present on the same coin doesn't make it worth $15,000, it might make it worth $150,000 or more depending on visibility and grade. And when you add die rotation and clash marks, then combine that with a transitional planchette, and wrap it all up in a grade that approaches mint state perfection, you're looking at a convergence of errors so unlikely, so statistically improbable, that it elevates the coin into the realm of one-of-one artifacts. And it's exactly this perfect storm of features that has led experts, collectors, and investors to bid the value of this coin into the tens of millions, culminating in its record-shattering private auction sale where it was purchased by an international buyer representing a private museum collection focused on showcasing historical anomalies in modern monetary production. And what's equally astonishing is that this coin's journey from obscurity to icon began not in a showroom or dealer's vault, but in a simple coin roll hunted by an amateur collector in a Midwestern town who noticed something odd about the AM spacing on the reverse, cross-referenced it online, and decided to submit the coin for grading, whereupon it received not just confirmation as a genuine 1992 D close AM but was also diagnosed with multiple secondary and tertiary errors that added incredible numismatic weight to its authenticity, and the coin was then preserved, insured, and passed through multiple high-end collectors before appearing at an exclusive, invitation-only auction event where bidding wars pushed its final price far beyond even the most aggressive estimates, and while the sale itself was private, news of the result has been confirmed by multiple sources and referenced in collector forums, trade publications, and even major media outlets covering high-value collectibles, all of which has had the effect of reigniting intense interest in 1992 pennies across the entire numismatic spectrum, with coin hunters now poring over rolls, jars, and collections, in the hope of uncovering another 1992 D close AM or perhaps a similar coin bearing overlapping or newly discovered error combinations, because in the world of coin collecting, lightning has been known to strike more than once, and with the sheer number of coins produced each year, even minuscule error rates can yield a handful of incredibly valuable pieces, especially when those errors go unnoticed for decades until one sharp-eyed individual makes a game-changing discovery, and so the 1992 D Lincoln Cent, particularly the close AM variant, has now cemented itself as one of the most desirable coins of the modern era, its story elevated by the spectacular errors that define it, the extraordinary condition that preserved it, and the astronomical price it commanded when brought to market, and its legacy serves as a powerful reminder that in the world of numismatics, age alone does not determine value, rarity, error type, historical context, condition, and collector demand all play crucial roles in turning a penny into a multi-million-dollar treasure, and while this specific coin may never appear again, its existence proves that there are still extraordinary finds waiting to be discovered by those willing to look, study, and explore their pocket change with curiosity and patience, because any one of us might hold in our hands the next miracle cent, the next record breaker, the next coin whose combination of minting mistake and preserved perfection will one day write its own chapter in the great and ongoing saga of American coin collecting, and the story of the $30 million 1992 D Lincoln Cent is more than just a tale of a rare coin. It's a symbol of the unpredictable beauty of minting, the thrill of discovery, the reward of knowledge, and the fact that sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight. Last 2015 D1 cent USA coin, where even the smallest and most overlooked items in your change jar could turn out to be million-dollar treasures, and today we are diving deep into what is perhaps one of the most mind-blowing, record-shattering, and utterly astonishing stories in the entire realm of modern US coinage, a story so incredible that it has stunned even the most seasoned numismatists, economists, and mint historians as we turn our undivided attention to the infamous and historically significant 2015 D Lincoln Cent, a seemingly ordinary 1-cent piece struck at the Denver Mint that has defied all expectations and valuation norms by achieving a phenomenal worth of an earth-shaking $90 million due to a dizzying combination of rare mint errors, mysterious production anomalies, potentially experimental compositions, and a collection of defects and circumstances so unique that experts now believe this coin is a one-of-a-kind masterpiece of accidental creation. And as we unpack the full magnitude of why this single 2015 D penny is now regarded as one of the most valuable and important coins in the entire history of US minting, we'll trace its backstory, its physical and metallurgical oddities, its legendary errors, and the compelling theories that continue to spark heated debate among top-tier grading services, collectors, historians, and auctioneers alike, because to understand why this coin has climbed to such astronomical value, we need to go all the way back to the nature of coin production in 2015, a year that, on the surface, seemed like just another routine period of mass penny production with the US Mint at Denver striking over 4.2 billion Lincoln Shield cents, a number so massive that it would logically suggest uniformity, consistency, and predictability, yet somehow, amidst these billions of virtually identical coins, there emerged a single cent that was so profoundly different, so astonishingly flawed in such intricate and meaningful ways, that it became a symbol of the rarest of rare manufacturing missteps, one that collectors believe was not merely the result of one isolated mistake but the convergence of several high-impact production failures occurring simultaneously within one precise window of opportunity, which makes the existence of this coin statistically equivalent to winning the lottery multiple times in a row. And when we look closely at this particular 2015 D cent, we see that its primary and most visually arresting feature is a jaw-dropping double die obverse of an extreme class, where Lincoln's portrait shows ghost-like doubling in the eyes, jawline, bow tie, and date numerals, all of which are sharply separated and visible without magnification, a feature that on its own would be enough to elevate any coin's value dramatically. But that's only the beginning, because further examination reveals the reverse side exhibits an off-center strike of nearly 20%, a rare error where the coin was not properly aligned during the moment of striking, causing the design to be shifted toward the upper edge and leaving part of the planchette unstruck and blank. And to have both a strong double die and such a dramatic off-center strike together is already an enormous anomaly. But it gets even more unusual because this same coin also shows a clear and unmistakable die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchette in between, leaving raised impressions of the opposing design elements embedded faintly into the fields of both sides of the coin. And if that weren't enough to get the numismatic world buzzing, this particular coin also presents a partial brokerage, where part of a previously struck coin adhered to one of the dies and caused an incuse mirror image of that coin to be transferred partially onto the next strike, in this case leaving a backward fragment of the word Liberty impressed over Lincoln's shoulder, creating a surreal and visually chaotic design that seems almost like abstract art forged by high-speed minting chaos. And then there is the matter of the rim, which on this penny is irregular and raised in a way that suggests color failure during striking, leading to distortion of the edge and causing weak or missing areas of the rim on one side and slight flaring on the other. And these physical deformities raise additional questions about the state of the striking equipment at the time this coin was made, leading to speculation that a faulty press may have gone unnoticed for a brief window during which a few coins, or perhaps only this one, were struck in such flawed conditions. And adding to the mystery is the discovery that this coin's weight is slightly heavier than standard copper-plated zinc cents of its year, measuring closer to 2.7 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams, with metallurgical analysis suggesting a higher than normal copper content, or perhaps the use of an experimental or foreign planchette that was fed accidentally into the penny production line. And this opens up a whole new dimension of value, because coins struck on the wrong planches are among the most sought after in all of collecting, especially when they feature major design errors layered on top. And this coin seems to have it all: an incorrect planchette, severe design doubling, off-center striking, die clash, partial brokerage, edge distortion, possible foreign metal composition, and most curiously of all, a reverse design that contains an anomaly not seen in any other 2015 D shield cent, where the central vertical lines of the shield appear to be misaligned, with the upper right corner of the shield skewing outward as though the die had rotated or slipped during production, producing a stretched and distorted appearance that has baffled graders and die specialists who have reviewed it under both optical and scanning electron microscopes. And no existing die variety or known production anomaly matches this exact pattern, leading to the strong belief that the die itself may have been experimental or misconfigured beyond normal tolerance limits. And as if all of this weren't already enough to elevate the coin into the stratosphere of rarity, the fact that it was discovered in a pristine near-flawless mint state by a collector during a charity coin sorting event, who happened to notice its unusual appearance and submitted it for grading, only to have it come back as a previously undocumented variety with multiple error types verified and certified by two separate grading authorities, makes its origin story even more incredible. And when the coin finally hit the private auction circuit, it sparked a frenzy unlike anything seen in recent memory, with elite collectors, museums, and international investors bidding fiercely for ownership of what was rapidly being described as the error coin of the century. And in a dramatic climax, the coin was sold for a world record $90 million to a consortium of private collectors backed by an international precious metals investment firm, and that sale sent shockwaves through the collecting world, reshaping how modern mint errors are perceived and valued. particularly those from the post-2010 era, which were once thought too recent to produce coins of such incredible worth. But the 2015 D-penny has proven that even in modern high-speed, high-volume coin production environments, the unpredictable nature of metal, machinery, and human oversight can result in once-in-a-lifetime errors that defy logic and ignite the passions of collectors around the globe. And since the sale, countless enthusiasts have been scouring coin rolls, checking change, and revisiting their collections in hopes of finding a similar 2015 D-penny or perhaps another coin from a neighboring year with even a hint of these anomalies. And while no duplicate has surfaced to date, the dream of finding the next era-laden cent worth millions remains alive and stronger than ever, as this particular coin now serves not just as a record holder but as a beacon of hope and inspiration for the entire collecting community, showing that sometimes the most valuable items are not locked in bank vaults or display cases but sitting quietly in the everyday chaos of circulation, waiting for someone with a sharp eye and a bit of luck to recognize the impossible hiding in plain sight. And the legacy of the $90 million 2015 D. Lincoln cent will continue to echo through numismatic history as a symbol of chance, rarity, and the ever-present possibility that numismatic miracles still happen, even in the most unassuming and overlooked corners of our currency system.